What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. Hopefully you subscribed on iTunes or Google Play or this new website that they have out there called YouTube. I think I'm saying that right, YouTube. Yes, I have uploaded every previous episode of mine to YouTube, as well as any new episodes going forward. Apparently some people prefer to, through their work computers or whatever, listen through YouTube, so I have it there as well. In case you guys want to listen to it, feel free to subscribe there as well. This week on the show, we have our guest. His name is Jase Baldridge. I met this man on Twitter. He's on Twitter at Jase Plays Games. So we get into a discussion about how he doesn't like Xbox, which I don't know why I'd have him on the show. I'm just kidding. He has an Xbox. He just likes to shit on it on Twitter, but that's fine. Also, we get into a discussion how the N64 Classic is definitely not going to happen, no matter what Jay says. So yeah, feel free to listen to that. If you guys want to be on the show just like he is, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Without further ado, let's get things started with Jase Baldridge. Do you remember what got you started playing games? Do you remember if it was a family member, a friend? Did you go to a Toys R Us that's sadly closing? And did you see those awesome kiosks that they had there? Like, what got you initially started?
Literally don't have a memory of starting. It's been since like forever. Literally forever.
You just remember being born and there was a controller in your hand.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they say they cut the cord. It was NES cord. They cut the NES cord.
Oh, gotcha.
And they had to get me a new one because obviously it didn't work after that.
Yeah. You were pissed and you threw it at the doctor and you're like, hey, doc, you just ruined my game of Mario.
That's
Thanks.
Thanks, ass.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for bringing me to the world, and you suck right now. You just ruined my goddamn game. No.
I mean, because I was probably playing some of the greatest games of all time. I was born in December of '87, and Mega Man came out like a week before, and Final Fantasy was like 2 weeks before. So it was the greatest like 2 week span in all of History is what I have to say.
Those two games, you being born, it works out. That's on the book somewhere.
I forget which one's first, but yeah, it's like Final Fantasy, Mega Man, Jase, and then it's just like game over. Everyone else just give up.
How awesome would that be if there was like a year in review of gaming and it was like Mega Man, Final Fantasy, Jase being born? Continue.
Oh man,
IGN made that list. You're on
the crowning achievement of 1987.
Yeah, right at the end, right at the tail end.
We did it.
Boom, dude. You know what I was just thinking of, and I feel bad too. Did you ever get screwed out of like birthdays and Christmas and shit?
I didn't. I was lucky. I've heard of this happening to people, and I've been asked it before, but my parents were always super cool. So
that's okay.
They made sure to separate it, and. So yeah, I never got screwed over.
That's good, because I mean, my brother-in-law, his birthday is like right after Christmas, and he will tell, people around him will say, no, we try to make it separate, we try to make it something special, but he will completely claim left, right, up, and down, like, nah, I get dicked every year. I'm like, aw. Like, that sucks.
I'd say the only way I will say dicked is just the fact that it's in December, and so it's always cold, like late December, literally the 28th, so 3 days before the end of the year. It's always cold, so I've never had like an outdoor birthday anything. It was when school was out, so we were on Christmas vacation,
right?
So it was always like hard to. We never did like the party things, but part of that's also just because growing up gaming, I was just like, I'd rather play this game than hang out with that kid. So,
well, I was gonna say like that's kind of the there's benefits, right? Too, because obviously people are on Christmas vacation, so I mean, there's no chance that kids are unless kids go out of town. I guess that could be causing a problem, but also too, I mean. You never had an outdoor birthday party, but you also had the opportunity to basically have friends come over and play games because...
Well, it's also, and the part of piggybacking on that is it's so close to Christmas that a lot of kids are still like with family, and that's still like considered like family time.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always in a weird spot. But then as I got older, I'd always tell people, I'm like, it's the potential for like the funnest week ever, because I'm like, you start with Christmas, and once you get older, you can make Christmas fun with, parties and whatnot. And then I'm like, the birthday's in the middle, and then you book it with New Year's.
Right.
But I don't take advantage of that because I'm a super boring person. So.
Aw. No,
Yeah.
but I mean, that could be an awesome week, though. You should.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, you should. That could definitely
I think I've taken advantage of it only a couple times.
Absolutely. Well, again, the cool thing is, it's not like it's only going to happen one year. It's going to happen every year.
At least a couple more tries, right?
Right. I mean, because you're going to live for a while. You're fine.
Maybe.
Yeah. Dude, please don't die, because that would suck. Like, all of a sudden,
I don't think my parents would appreciate it.
Yeah,
so.
they probably wouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
Jase's last thing was him talking about dying on a podcast, and then the next day he died. Like, yeah.
Oh,
that's the
I
last
didn't
thing
mean
I
like
want.
tomorrow. Goodness.
I know, right? I you got a couple more years. You're fine. We'll be fine, I think. But I mean, so where did you grow up then? Like, where were you? Because obviously you said it's cold. I mean, I guess it depends on where you are during wintertime. Where did you grow up at?
The Oklahoma Panhandle.
Gotcha.
Literally no man's land.
Yeah, I was gonna say kind of like middle of nowhere,
Yeah,
basically.
almost the definition of it.
That's probably a town name in Oklahoma, like middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. Like, just to have a sign.
It was
and they
10
sell
miles.
shirts.
It was 10 miles from Hooker, Oklahoma.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you know what's awesome? I'm sure those city names like that, they just, they want to take advantage of it, so they have all these shirts. I was in Hooker, Oklahoma.
Miss Hooker, was on one of the, I think she was on Jay Leno one year. Like,
Oh my
when she won
God.
it, they had I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, they had Miss Hooker on Jay Leno.
That's amazing.
I think I could fact check that now with the internet. So,
I'm sure you could, but
but there's definitely a Miss Hooker crowned every year.
their mothers must be so proud.
Well, they chose to live
Yeah,
there.
exactly, right? Just
They're bad.
They're too bad. There's no like beautiful Oklahoma. It's Hooker, Oklahoma. Like, oh, Miss Beautiful. Nope, you're Miss Hooker. I'm so sorry.
And then also close to that is Liberal, Kansas. So there's Miss
Jeez.
Liberal. Yeah.
Man, some progressive names there, man. Look at
There's
that.
a Beaver, Oklahoma.
Well, of
Close.
course.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
So good. All the random
Oh,
names. I mean, I
good
live
names.
I live in Surprise, Arizona. So
that's real?
that's real.
Okay. I saw on your Skype name, it said it's, location United States Surprise. And I was like, that's funny.
No. Apparently, yeah, that's the name of the town. I asked a guy who lived here and moved. Here's what's funny. I used to live in Illinois. He moved from Arizona to Illinois for whatever stupid reason. And I mentioned like, hey, my in-laws, they live in Surprise. He's like, yeah, that's town. I'm like, that's a really name? He goes, yeah, because literally they were just like, Surprise, we're a town. I'm like, oh, really? That's it? But yeah, I live in a town called Surprise, and it's cool. If you have a family, this place is awesome. If you don't, you shouldn't live here. You should go live in Tempe right by ASU and go to Mill Avenue and go have some fun. But yeah, dude, like, yeah, weird town names. I mean, that happens.
Nice.
So middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. Yeah, that definitely gets cold in the wintertime. So obviously a lot of times, did you have, like, were your friends that you had, were they more into gaming as much as you were, or were they kind of into other things like doing nothing in the middle of Oklahoma?
Like I said, I had friends growing up, but I'm a very not super social person.
Okay.
And even when I was younger, I was probably even worse.
Gotcha.
And like I said, I would rather, cause I'm also been described as a selfish person. So when it's my time, I like to spend my time how I want to spend it.
Fair enough.
And so I'm like, oh, this game, I'm playing it. I want to play it. And if a friend wants to come hang out, that's cool. I'd go over there, make attempts every once in a while, but there's so much turnover that eventually I just kind of stopped. Like, kids would move in, move out, move in, move out.
Gotcha.
And so it's just like turnover to where it's like, whatevs. But I would always say I was probably at the most gamiest, like, of all of my friends, acquaintances, and whatever.
Gotcha.
So,
I mean, that's still, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. Because, I mean, I had friends that were more into gaming than I was. And then I had some friends who were just like, nah, dude, I'd rather go play basketball or something. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
yeah, it's good to have that mix of friends, though, because you
it was
have
mostly
that experience.
Even it wasn't more friends than, like, I have a brother who's a year older than I am. So we're extremely close, like, age-wise. So we did, like, everything.
Right.
So we would play game. Like, I always had him to play with. So I never had to, like, really reach out and be like, hey, you, let's play something. He was always like, hey, Just, let's play. And he's like, all right.
There you go.
Like, so we played Super together all the time. 64, of course, you know, when they got the 4 ports, then we would, like, people would come over and we'd have, you know, your typical, like, sleepover, 4 people, you know, playing WWE No Mercy or
Yes.
GoldenEye, Mario, you know, the typical games that everybody played on 64. And but yeah, so we had those moments, but it was always usually me and my brother more than me and a friend or whatever.
Right. Well, that's still good. I mean, at least you had somebody that, you know, just to play games with. Because, I mean, some of those memories for me were, my favorite memories were playing with my buddies. Like, some of the games, like, I'm trying to think, like, I had single-player games, right? But also, too, just, like, when I think back at, like, my favorite gaming memories, it always involved other people. It wasn't ever just, like, playing just a single-player game by myself. It was always just, you know, playing Mortal Kombat and fucking staying up way too late, jacked up on Mountain Dew and pizza, doing every fatality you could do.
Oh yeah, naturally.
You know, like it was those types of moments.
Put the codes in to where you only have to do one button, so that way you can just see them.
Yep. And then of course, like, there was always, I always get pissed off because I'm trying to remember, there was always like one fatality that was like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, how do you do this one? Like, you do it and then you jump and you're like, this is bullshit. You can't do this fatality. It's like not possible.
See, like, yeah, like usually the ones where it's like involves up.
Yeah,
are the ones where, or blocking, and I'm like, am I blocking while I'm pushing back, or is it blocking a separate input? Right. I don't get it. Just let's put the code in and just do single button. We'll just watch all the babalities. We'll watch all the animalities. We'll watch all the fatalities, all the friendships.
See, what sucks now is kids don't have to do that anymore, man. They got YouTube for that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, though.
It's easier.
Yeah. I was going to say, to be honest, though, all the new Mortal Kombat games that have come out, they're like, there's a YouTube clip, all fatalities. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to watch that. Like, I'm guilty of it, but yeah,
I'm not spending $60 anymore. I'm just going to watch.
Well, dude, that's
what I bought the game.
Yeah, I mean, well, my thing is too is like with fighting games, I've never been a giant fan of them. Obviously, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter were like cultural phenomenons at the time, so everyone and their mother had it. But every time I've gotten like a not wrestling. I wouldn't say wrestling's fighting game. That's kind of a different situation. But like, you know, traditional fighting games, your Tekkens, Virtual Fighters, Mortal Kombats, any of those types of games. Every time, like Marvel vs. Capcom, every time I've gotten them, I get bored with them. And I know that people will hear that and go, what's wrong with you? How can you get bored of it? I have my friends, Jeff and Dito. They love fighting games. Like, they play the shit out of fighting games. They have arcade sticks for every one of their consoles. Like, they love fighting games, and I just don't get it. Like, I just don't see the appeal of it. But, like, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, completely different. Because, like, everyone was into them at that time. I think Mortal Kombat, though, was more just because everybody wanted to see how, like, crazy shit got in that game.
I'm not a part of everyone then, because we were not Street Fighter boys.
I had Street Fighter 2 for Genesis.
And that was it. We were like, we might get a fight. Mortal Kombat we owned, like on the Sega. We had 3 and Ultimate 3.
Yep.
And then every once we'd get like a new one, or we rented a lot.
Yes.
Because remember, we're 90s kids.
Of course.
So we rented.
86. I'm right there with
you. So we were able to rent, and because that's what we did. We owned games growing up. We owned the consoles, like all the Nintendos for sure, PlayStations, just all console. But owning games themselves, we never really owned a whole bunch because, like I said, we were like at the rental store every Friday renting 2 or 3. Mom would take it back on Monday when she went to work. We'd go back on Friday. We'd rent 3 more. Like, we played like everything, but it was all rentals.
Of course.
But so we would get those fighting games and play them for a minute. But I'm with you. I'm just like, fighting games are just like, whatever, dude. Dragon Balls Fighters Z.
Make sure you say 7 Z's. Dragon Ball Z Fighter Z.
That came out in January. I played the demo and I was just like, yep. Like every other fighting game, I just can't do it. I don't have the patience to learn. I don't want to learn. I just don't have fighting games, get out of here. Like
the most recent one I bought, and actually bought, because like some of them I'll try and I'll just be like, yep, that's a fighting game. I remember now. The only one I remember getting was Killer Instinct, just because I had an Xbox One, and I had Xbox One day one, and I'm like, I need something to see. Yeah. And I will give it very much credit, because the tutorial on it literally was almost like a pro player trying to teach you how to play this game. Like, they were teaching you frame counts and like all this shit, and I'm like, that's really cool. And then I'd go on, and it was really pretty, all the particle effects. I'm like, oh, that's very pretty. And then, of course, I go online, get my ass stomped repeatedly, and I was just like, why did I do this to myself? And I just,
Thanks, tutorial.
Yeah, thanks, tutorial. You made me feel good for 5 seconds. And I go online, they're like, fuck you in this tutorial, and just beat me down. But no, I mean, like, that's the last one I bought. And again, I don't regret it. It was like $20. And I was just like, oh, this is pretty. And if people want to come over and play around with it or whatever, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, again, I think it was just at the time everybody wanted Mortal Kombat. Like, that was one that just, it was like a staple. Like, you had to have. There were certain staple games you had to have. I only had Street Fighter II Championship Edition for Genesis. That was the only one I ever had. And again, I was like, this is fun. But then when Mortal Kombat came out and you can rip somebody's head off, I was like, wow, right? I'm a kid. I love people ripping people's heads off. Let's play that instead.
I can freeze people and I can get them over here.
Yeah.
That's all I need. And then Liu Kang going,
yeah. Dude, I like that's a verb. I can get over here, people. It's just so good. That works. But yeah, I mean, like, and like you said as well, like the whole rental, because that was literally a religious experience. Like, everybody went to their local store on Friday. And of course, you wanted to get there early so you didn't get like fucked over, when you get there. And
like I said, if we did, we found something. Like I said, we played like everything.
I mean, like, that's the thing that sucks is like, but the thing is, you wanted to get there early so you didn't get to play garbage over the weekend. You were like, man, I hope they have that copy. And of course, some games you were like, I hope they have the same copy I had before so I can keep going.
No, the only one I can ever recall, like, I want this again, like, I'm sure it happened with 1 or 2 games. I don't know. Because I was always ready for the next thing. But the only one that I can really remember, rented it so many times, the store should have just given it to me, was the Harvest Moon for Super Nintendo. Like, they should have just given it to me because I rented it so many times.
Yeah, there were a couple games like that for me as well. Just like, you rent it and rent it and rent it. And you're like, shit, I could have bought this 5 times.
If I could have bought it, I would have, but this was before we were readily available with internet.
Right.
It was not sold in stores in middle of nowhere, Oklahoma / Southwest Kansas. It was not there. So therefore I could not buy it. So Mom was forced to, have to pay $3 to rent it every week.
Right.
Then eventually, that store closed and I was like, what do I do now?
What do I do with my life?
What do I do without Harvest Moon? So it went on my Christmas list literally every year and I never got it. That and a white Steve Young jersey were my 2 things I asked for every year and never got. But I always got good stuff. I said, parents are cool.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Were your parents pretty cool about you guys playing games and stuff? They weren't all like, get out of the house, do something more productive with your life.
No, see, the thing is, I say, I'd rather play the games than whatever, but we were always doing something else. We were playing football, we were playing hide and go seek, because this was, again, in the 90s, and kids today may not understand it, but we were able to play outside. I know.
No.
And so we had neighborhood-wide hide and seek, like at night even. And our house was like I said, I had two brothers and a sister who are all older than I am. So every weekend was like a sleepover. There was always somebody staying over, and I would usually that was another reason why I was like, I don't have to find friends. I just piggyback and like hang out with these people.
That works.
And so there's always something at our house, and we had like hide and seek inside the house, outside, capture the flag, whatever. So we were outside. We played basketball. I played sports in school. Like, so it wasn't just like I play more games now than I did then, and it's not even close. It's not even close.
Well, the thing is now, I mean, that's the other thing too, is as you become an adult, like, it's just easier to play games than other stuff because now adults do other things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry that adults have jobs and families and wives and girlfriends. And like, when you're 7, 8, 9, whatever, you have school and then everything else. Like, you can do whatever the hell you want after that. You know what I mean? So it sucks because, like, obviously certain things you look back on, you're like, man, yeah, you know, those days were awesome. Those days were the best. But then you're like, oh yeah, I didn't have all those games that I have now. And I didn't have all these nice things that I have now because I had to be like, hey mom, do you want to buy me this game? She's like, it's not your birthday, go away. But yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. Like, at least, like, I was in the same boat with you though, right? Where I did play games, but there was like very much moods where I had time where I played games, but then there was modes where like I just straight like didn't play games for a while and I was playing basketball instead. I was in basketball when I was like in elementary and stuff in junior high. And then, you know, I got into wrestling when I was in high school. So like there were moments where I just kind of like didn't play games, did other stuff. So my parents weren't ever, you know, like, oh no, you know, you can't play games or whatever unless you were in trouble. That was like the ultimate punishment.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just like, yeah, you're
Turn
not
it on.
Nintendo.
Yeah, we're gonna take it from you, and we're like, all right, let's take a step back. Let's reevaluate the situation.
Let's think about this.
What can
calmly.
I do, and how can I make it better?
Exactly. Yeah. No, I never. Yeah, I never got to the point though where my one of my friends, his parents used to take the AC cable out of the system and just been like, nope, that's mine. And I'm like, wow.
If my parents tried that, they're not going to throw it away because they spent their money on it.
Oh, of course.
They bought it. They're not throwing it away. So we would find it.
Yeah,
so
you just got to.
They're not even going to try. If it's in the house, we have 4 people who can look for it.
Right. You'll just find it in the house. You'll just tear the house to pieces, and then they'll come home to a just destroyed house and be like, "I found it."
Yeah, like my dad worked for Pepsi forever, and we had a pop machine.
Nice.
But we were supposed to put a quarter in, get a thing. He would hide the key. Quarters never went in.
Of course.
Because we would find the key, and he'd hide it somewhere else. We'd find the key. We'd take a soda. And then on days when, like, there's some, like, fundraisers are going on at school, like, packages of beef jerky were $2. $2 may have disappeared from the pop machine. Like, it's just how it worked.
So how much Mountain Dew is in your house at any given time?
Mountain Dew, I don't know. We always worked on, like, because this machine had 7 or 8 rows in it. It was like a regular, you know, machine you'd see at a store.
Right.
And so we each had our designated row.
Nice.
Like, my dad had his with his Pepsi in it. My mom had her Diet Pepsi. My brother, sister, and we would always trade off between, like, Dr. Pepper or maybe I'd be like, I'm getting Mountain Dew this time. So we all had our own row that we'd have our flavor in.
That's awesome.
But Mountain Dew was in and out. There's probably more in there. That's probably not true. Consistently there because my dad's a Mountain Dew kid right now. So
yeah,
he likes Red.
Yeah, I lived by. Oh, dude, I have a bad story about Code Red. I lived about 30 minutes away from a bottler. Obviously I didn't know anybody that worked for Pepsi, but like 30 minutes away from where they manufactured it. Now we used to get a lot of like the test flavors early, so they would just stock it up in our gas stations and make it so cheap just so they can get people to just, you know, get it and try it. And I remember having like Livewire so fucking early. And then, like, I remember going to Texas and being pissed that they didn't have it yet. I was like, where's Mountain Dew Livewire? And they looked at me like I was, what the fuck are you talking about, kid? I'm like, dude, it's orange. It's delicious. What are you talking about right now? You don't know what I'm saying. Like, why are you looking at me like I'm talking monkey to you right now? Like, Livewire, like, they just straight didn't understand. But Code Red was a bad experience only because it was like 50 cents for a 20 ounce. So of course I'm a kid. I got like $5 in my pocket. I get me a bag of chips and I just buy as many things of Code Red as I can. And I'm out skateboarding and I'm chugging these things. And literally it was so hot and I was skateboarding and I drank way too much and I just started puking red everywhere. Yes. It was a disaster. It was just, I was in a bush, it looked like I was throwing up blood, but it was just all red.
Did you fall? No, it's not you.
I'm like, no, it's not you. Just stay away from me. And ever since then, I can't do it. I look at it and it's like a trigger. It's like, oh no. Remember that day? You can't touch that shit anymore, man. But yeah,
you did that with Code Red. I did that with Goldschlager.
Oh, well, I mean, the difference though, one of them has alcohol in it. So, I mean, that kind of triggers, the throwing up part of it.
Oh, dude, no, what a terrible time that was.
Oh my God. Yeah. Mine was the mix of like the Code Red with the heat, with the skateboarding. And it was just like, dude, I was probably dehydrated out of my mind, cause I'm just inhaling sugar and I'm just like, dude, this is bad. And then again, ever since then, I can't do it. But also too, now I've switched over to diet soda. I had a Mountain Dew the other day. I like the holiday one or whatever. Like they had a holiday Mountain Dew. I tried one sip of it and I thought I was going to just go into like a diabetic coma. I was like, this is so sugary.
Every once in a while I'll get one and it like makes my eyes water.
Yeah.
One, because it's so sugary, and two, because it's so good.
It's really, dude, I tasted it and I was just like, I took one drink and I was like, I'm done. I just gave it to my son. I'm like, I can't do this. I just, when you have diet soda forever and then you have like a regular soda, it's just weird. But on top of that, this thing had like 70 milligrams of sugar in it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this thing is ridiculous. But it's okay. I mean, again, when you're a kid though, who gives a shit? You can do what you want.
Mm-hmm. You're just gonna burn it off naturally anyway.
Yeah, dude. Back when I was, 11 and 12, and I can eat triple Whoppers and drink Mountain Dew all day long and not gain a pound. Those are the fun days.
Those are the good days.
Those are the best days. Now you just slice a pizza.
Screw the Nintendo, memories and the Super Nintendo memories, and all those good times I had. It was being able to eat all the garbage and just be like, I'm good.
Yep. Welcome to the Old Man Show, where we talk about how good Mountain Dew used to be and how we used to eat a bunch of food. Now we can't do it anymore, but that's all right. No big deal.
Maybe that Mountain Dew is what's going to do me in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. To tie it all back, he's going to drink a new version of Mountain Dew that's just going to make his head explode. That's what's going to happen. No, like that for me though. Like I said, those are those memories though. Like going down to the gas station, getting a 12-pack of Mountain Dew for me for the nights. And going to my buddy's house and just chugging that shit, playing games like that. Those were like I used to stay at my friend's house all the time, and I'm sure his mom hated us. Just some moms are like, yes, I want everybody to come over and enjoy themselves at my house, and then you get those moms that are like, don't you have a family? Why are you here all the time? But no, I mean, dude, it was over my buddy's house all the time. That's like all we did. At least it was cool though, because you had a brother who was into gaming, who did, obviously played games with you and stuff. And did any of your other siblings want to play? Like, I mean, I know it was harder to do 4-player stuff until like 64 happened, but were any of your other siblings into it as well?
My oldest brother, I don't have like any memory of him playing like back in the day. He plays now, usually like bigger titles and stuff. And he asks me like, hey, what games are out to play now? And I'm like, I I can give you some, but you probably know them, but I'm not going to give you some other ones because you're not even going to waste your time with it.
Right.
Like, you're not going to play Danganronpa.
No.
Like, it's just not going to happen, buddy.
No, that is definitely something you cannot give a casual guy. It's just like, hey, what's fun in gaming now? Danganronpa, Persona 5.
Danganronpa, Persona 5, get some Cyber Neptunia, Four Goddesses Online. No, you don't want to play that? All right, that's
They would
fine.
look at you like you are fucking crazy. They'd be like, what did you just say?
Yeah, we had a mini family reunion a couple weekends ago, and I took my PS4, and my background is a screenshot from that game, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" I was like, "Don't worry about it. It's a great game."
That's a fun thing to explain.
My sister's like, "That's not what real Japanese girls look like." I said, "But what if it was?"
But what if it was? I mean, like I said, there's some. That's some weird shit coming out of Japan sometimes, though, man. There's some
It's such a magical place.
It's magical, but then you're also like, dude,
so good.
The fuck is going on over there, dude? There's some next level shit we don't know about.
I know. I'm jealous. But then my sister would play every once in a while. If it was usually like Mario Kart, I'm trying to think of some other stuff. But it's usually like that, the party central. Every once in a while, like if we were like a side scroller beat up like Ultimate Carnage on SNES or the Turtles in Time, something like that. Like, she can pick up and she'll play that. But most of the time she didn't even bother. Or my brother and I were taking up whatever the console was at the time. And then my biggest one with her was I mentioned it when, like I said, a couple weekends ago, and she's like, I don't remember that because like the one who's older than me, a year older, he really likes Resident Evils and Silent Hill, Clock Tower, those survival horror, like PS1 era games. He played those all the time, and I can't play those because I'm a big pussy, and so I can't play them, and also I can't do tank controls. My brain does not work, and so I would watch him play it and have a great time. And I tried playing Resident Evil 2. I don't even know how many times. I'm like, I'm gonna play it this time, and I'm gonna do it, and I never do. And my sister, I have a memory where she played through it and she finished the game.
Wow.
She finished at least the one playthrough. I don't know if she did the 2 playthroughs, but she played through one of them, and she was like, I don't remember that. And I said, I promise you it happened. Because why would I make that up?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's kind of a very specific, like, Resident Evil 2, she probably played as Claire. Maybe that, like, drew her into, like, playing it. No, like, I remember, like, my sisters, the one, and I mentioned it, I think, like, last episode or whatever, I don't ever remember my parents playing games, period. I just don't. However.
My dad, no. He does not. I have a really bad temper. My dad, I get it from my dad, and his is way worse than mine. And he cannot play games. He can't do really anything competitive. He gets so mad. It's funny, and then it gets to the point where it's not funny.
Right. It gets funny up until like
he's not
a
violent man. He doesn't break things. He doesn't whatever. He just like gets really like standoff and like pouty and angry, and so just to the point where it's just like, dude, chill out. But again, it's hard for me to judge because I do that also. I've gotten a lot better over time. I used to be really bad, like punch a hole through my closet door bad, and so. But my mom, she had to be like what introduced us. She has to be the main like
reason
first component.
Started playing and everything, right?
Because even another story I shared with my sister a couple weekends ago was we were talking about NESs, and I mentioned the top load one, and she goes, I don't even remember what that is. What are you talking about? I was like, yeah, there are 2 versions. There's the front one where you put it in, you pop it down, you close the door. I said, then there was the top load one where you just put it in and it ran better and whatever. She goes, did we have one of those? I said, yes. I said, because I remember I was at the babysitter in kindergarten and mom came to pick me up. And when I got into the van, there was the top load with Mega Man 4. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, but you can't play it till you clean your room. And so I got home. I was like, let's clean this room. He's like, nah. I was like, all right, then that's just more time for me. So I cleaned it, and I was able to play Mega Man 4 on the top load.
That's probably the fastest you've ever cleaned your room in your life.
And so that was my mom just going, "Hey, there's this. I'm gonna buy it." And
that's awesome.
Because she liked Mega Man. She'd play Mario. She played games with us when we were younger. Then she stopped, and I always go, "Why did you stop?"
Right?
Our relationship is already magnificent, but it could be so much better, Mom.
I would love you immense amounts more if you would.
That's not possible.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. No,
I know what you. Yeah, Mom is and Dad. They're both unlimited amounts. Like I said, they're both phenomenal parents. So
that's good. I mean, again, I'm trying to think because I remember my sisters didn't really play anything. Not that I remember. I remember. I've my sister deleted a Final Fantasy VII save of mine to play Tony Hawk, which made me never want to play the game again. And then I remember because like I said, my grandma absolutely played games. She had an NES at her house for us, and I'd go over to her house. Oh, dude, my grandma loved the shit out of Tetris, Dr. Mario, Pinbot. Dude, those were her jams. And again, of course, I'm a kid, and I go over her house, and I see her playing the hardest level of Dr. Mario and just whooping ass on it. And I'm like, Grandma, you're so good at games.
You're like Grandma Hero.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, Grandma, you're so amazing. But no, I mean, my dad, I don't ever remember touching a controller. However, there is a picture of my dad and my uncle, definitely when I was, after I was born, playing Mario. I've never seen him once play a game. It's just weird. But, yeah, I mean, my grandma was all about it. My sister's not so much. But that's where at least, my family wasn't as into it. Obviously, they weren't discouraging me from it because they bought me shit and, everybody was cool with it. But that was where I definitely relied on, friends to be over. And I was like, hey, dude, you like games too? Thank you. And we'd actually play games together and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, that was the big thing for me. I mean, like I said, it was the exact opposite for you because you had at least more family that was into it, which is awesome. I definitely used the tactic that your mom used, though. My son, for example, his grades have been slipping only because he just doesn't like to do the work. Very smart kid. Very smart kid. When he does the work, he does it well, but he's just nah, I ain't going to do that. I'm like, cool. Well, you're not getting your Xbox. How's that sound? Over spring break, his grades reset because the quarter's over. And I'm like, hey, I'll let you play on your Xbox during spring break. However, you need to make sure your chores are done before you start playing your games. That kid will get up the moment he gets up. I just see him running around the house, getting all of his chores done because he hasn't played his Xbox in months. Yeah. And he's just like, chores are done. I'm like, you sure? Yep, chores are done. I promise you. I'm like, all right, cool, go play your Xbox. So that's the thing. It's I can pretty much ask him to do anything I want. Hey, you want to go get your sister this real fast? Cool. Hey, Alex, can you go run your laundry upstairs? And dude, again, he loves his Xbox, but also when you take it away from somebody, you take that away, dude, and then you're just holding it over their head, and then finally you're like, all right, you can play. Dude, I haven't heard a word from him all spring break. He comes downstairs, does his chores, goes upstairs, plays forever, comes downstairs, eats, runs straight back upstairs.
What a trooper.
I know, he's such I'm so proud of him because at least he's not just playing a game. Of course I have him on my friends list and I'll look occasionally. He's playing Ark, he's playing Minecraft, he's playing Subnautica, he's playing PUBG, he's playing Titanfall. I'm like, I raised a good kid. He's got a good grasp on different games to play, so good for him. Yeah, and then the other thing I was mentioning too, though, is when it comes to multiple people playing, back when NES and Super NES and Genesis, it was more two-player things just because of the controller ports on the system. But then when N64 came out, that was the big one. And you had mentioned No Mercy, which I'm sure we could talk an hour of No Mercy, but we will hold that off. But
I was gonna say I've been put on a docket where there's another podcast that I guess I'm doing, and we're going to be talking wrestling games specifically. So I'll be talking about that soon.
Yeah, dude, No Mercy. And it's funny because for whatever reason, I don't remember being into wrestling games until it was PlayStation and 64. At all. I don't remember. Oh. I know there was WrestleMania the game.
Oh my god.
There was Royal Rumble on Genesis.
Royal Rumble on Super Nintendo. Rumble on Super Nintendo. Raw is War on Super Nintendo. Yep. Was it Survivor Series?
In this
there's a third one, and then there's like in this house, and then the WrestleMania arcade game. It was just WrestleMania, I think. Then the WrestleMania arcade game. I think those were the big ones that we played when we were like. And then the 64, they just blew up, and it's like
that's where they
World Tour and Revenge and
they went nuts.
2000 and No Mercy.
Yeah, there were so many good ones. Like I said, I don't remember them being like I remember them being of there, and I remember being into wrestling, but for whatever reason, the shit just didn't click until it was like PlayStation and PlayStation and 64. Because I had a PlayStation. I didn't have a 64 until later on in the life cycle, which was odd because it was actually my sister who asked for an N64 for Christmas, but she got like the Donkey Kong, the green one that came with like the green console, the expansion pack, Donkey Kong. She had that bundle, but it's like, I don't remember her ever like really being into playing games that much, It's just kind of odd. But I was more into the place, like I had a PlayStation, so I was playing that's WWF Attitude, Warzone, and then those games were just, dude. I look back on them now, and they're just they're so bad. Like those PlayStation,
the PlayStation ones are bad,
dude. They're real bad.
The acclaimed PlayStation, the Smackdowns you can still play it because it's more arcadey.
Yes, no, the Smackdowns were fun, but dude, those
acclaimed ones are bad,
just hot trash. And I remember
they were trash at the time too. To be honest, however, I will give which one the second one
Attitude.
Was it? Oh yeah, Attitude. I'll give it credit because that's the one that got us the second PlayStation in the house.
There you go.
Because me and my brother we would sit there and we'd play it and we'd be like, I want to play. Well, it's my turn. You've been playing long enough. I want to play. My dad just got so sick and tired of hearing it that he just like, one day he told me, he's like, let's go. I was like, where are we going? We're going to town. I was like, okay. And so we went to town, and I was like, where are we going? He's like, don't worry about it. I was like, okay. So we went to Walmart. I was like, why are we here? He's like, don't worry about it. We go to the electronics, and he's like, I need a PlayStation, and what's the game you guys are fighting over? Nice. I was like, Attitude? He's like, I need one of those too. I was like, are you serious? He's just awesome. Like, I'm so tired of listening to you.
Yeah.
It's like, plug it in one of your TVs and stay apart from each other, and I'm just shut up.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, what's funny is I went back and watched a YouTube clip of Warzone, and it's just such trash. There's like no audio at all. There's like 5 lines from JR and the King, and I mean, the only thing we cared about is the fact that you can Stone Cold stun people. Like, that's the only, like, him being on the cover was it. Like, as long as that dude was on the cover and you can stun people in the game, that's all I cared about is a stupid
good times.
Game.
Oh yeah,
it was good times. But then, like, the acclaimed games were trash. Then it was THQ that got it because they had both, didn't they? They had WCW and they had the WWE, like, F at the time. Mm-hmm. And the SmackDown games were like considerably better. Like, they were just so much better. But then, if you look at that era, the N64 games are like bar none. They're just better. They're just better. And you remember those games. And even though the characters look like trash, it's just that gameplay style. And I love how now there are wrestling games coming out in that style.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously people give a shit about that style because they literally make new wrestling games that mimic exactly the way that felt. And it's just awesome. Like, they really were great. 4 players. I loved, I don't remember as much. I don't think the 64 games had as much character customization or anything as the PlayStation 1 did.
I beg to differ.
I'm trying to remember. I played the PlayStation ones more, so I may not be remembering.
My brother was a master at making wrestlers on that game.
Did he take like 7 hours to do it though, like everybody else did?
The memory cards. We had multiple memory cards,
right? And
we had at least 2 of them filled with like real wrestlers that he made. Like, right. And they look, even now when you look at them, you're like, that's the best you could have done. But at the time, I was like, these look exactly freaking like him. And he went through and he made move lists. I can't even make a move list for my own guy because it takes too long. He would go through and make move lists and, like I said, make their look and find the face that looks most like him. Like I said, he is a master at it. And I still pop the game in because I still have the cartridge, and I'll pop it in and look at his created ones, and I'm like, God damn, you're good, dude.
Yeah, the only problem, like I said, the only problem that I had was just when a new wrestling game came out. Like, all right, cool. All right, Jared's gonna make his character. All right, and then of course I do the SpongeBob thing in my head. 12 hours later, and he's like, "Cool, I've done my hair," and I'm like, "What the fuck are we doing, man? Like, what? Can we start playing, please?"
You gotta make them. You gotta make your created wrestler as good as you possibly can.
You can't.
I hold no qualms against people taking hours on created wrestlers.
I get it, but when the game's new. And we got a rental of like 3 days to get this shit to start playing.
Oh, we bought our wrestling games. Well, we were committed.
Yeah, but that's
when I say we didn't own a lot of games, we owned the wrestling games.
Yeah, but those are the games that, like I said, But if you had your own PlayStation, your own copy of the game, and you were at home taking forever to make your guy, and you brought him to your buddy's house, that's when shit was cool. You were like, wow, that character's awesome. And of course, they just got more and more over the top with all the shit you can do. Create a wrestler, then just create a move, then just create a move list, then just create an entrance, then create a fucking pay-per-view, then create you could create anything you want. What's really sad now is the wrestling games now I'm just not into. I don't know what it is, but they feel very samey. Like every year they feel like the same thing. And I almost feel like certain, because 2K or whatever got the license and then they started doing their shit, but it almost seems like they are just throwing a number on it and updating the roster and not doing as much. There was some article I read where they talked about the game engine hasn't changed since PlayStation 2 or something. They've just been slowly updating the engine, but they haven't done a full overhaul of the engine since the PS2 games, which is insane to think about with all the shit that these consoles have. Imagine if they did a new engine with it, which I get is expensive, and I understand that. But I mean, also too I wonder how well they sell, if they feel it's worth it or not. But that's the only thing. I got
obviously enough.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they sell them enough. Because I got I think it was 2K16 they gave away with Games with Gold, and I was immediately like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm gonna have everybody's gonna have this game, so we're all gonna do table matches and ladder matches and all this crazy shit. And then we just started playing it, and I'm just like, I don't know what it is, I'm just not having fun. I don't get it. But again, very fond memories of the 64 days.
64 is good.
64 and PlayStation. Dude, I remember the PlayStation
SNES
one.
Is better.
On the
SNES's greatest console of all time. I want all of your listeners to know it. I'm proclaiming it right now. I'm taking over the show for the next 10 seconds. SNES is the best console ever created. It has the best library of for that specific console. I have to put that in there because obviously PlayStation 3 has PlayStation 1 games on it also.
Right,
that's pretty good console. And Switch is about to have Virtual Console, and it's going to be the greatest collection of games of all time. And the SNES controller is, I'll be realistic here, it's just my favorite. It's probably not the best controller of all time, but it's definitely my favorite.
It was better than the Genesis controller, that's for fact.
Genesis controller is but
dude, I remember the 3-button, because I had a Genesis 3-button controller.
We had the 6-button.
Yes, as soon as the 6-button controller came out, I was like, life is good, man. This 3-button controller can kick rocks. This fucking batarang. I'm getting this bitch out of here. That 6-button controller was smaller, had all the buttons for Mortal Kombat. I was like, this is the controller that should have come out from the beginning. This shit is awesome. No, that 3-button controller, of course, I had one for the peasant that came over who, I was like, oh, you're over here? Pff, have fun with 3 buttons, dude. I got 6. I'm awesome. No, but I agree with you as far as the console goes. Super Nintendo's absolutely better. I will also tell people over and over again, there will not be an N64 Classic.
There will. Dude, I listened to your conversation the other day. There will be. I made a list while I was listening. I made a list. Let me find it.
Are they Nintendo games though?
Yo, I have an argument for that.
Here we go.
My gosh,
dude.
I don't need my list.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry. No.
First of all, SNES Classic only has 20 games, not 30, and it has +1, so it's 21 games. Not only does it have 21 games, Final Fantasy 3 is on there. That's a Square game. That's
Correct.
not Nintendo.
No, you're right.
There's Contra. That's Konami. That's not Nintendo.
Correct.
I counted. There are 6 games on it that are not Nintendo licensed games.
I understand that.
So therefore, that little argument does not work for when you're saying these games will not be able to make it.
Here's the only thing. Those games didn't exist on the 64. Like, Square jumped the PlayStation. Like,
that's fine.
All those third-party games on Super weren't there. Like,
however, you also said you will not get Banjo on it. You will not get GoldenEye. GoldenEye you will not get.
No,
but
you won't
Banjo.
Banjo's a possibility because Phil Spencer did say.
I was going to say, exactly. That was going to be my thing. I was like, I know he just said that this week, so it was after he did a show. So this little note, because it's just within the last week when he said it.
Shout out to Phil Spencer for being awesome.
Phil Spencer is the badass. I will say, everyone knows that I'm not the most friendly with Xbox. However,
I've seen your Twitter. I know.
Phil Spencer is a G. He's a cool dude, and he's doing good things over there.
Very good things. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, he definitely the right choice. Phil Spencer is a really cool dude.
I love how his answer is just like, dude, by the way, you run a multi-million or billion-dollar part of Microsoft. You literally respond to dudes with like 20 Twitter followers. Like, he's just like, hey, dude, do you think you can get Banjo and Smash? Yup.
That was so cool.
He just doesn't dude, you could probably tell when he's just like, he's probably taking a shit and he's just like, I'm just going to go on Twitter and see who's added me. And I'm
going to make somebody's week.
Exactly, dude. And I love the response the guy had. He just said, thank you. He was so polite about it.
But yeah, he was like, if they're like, hey, Microsoft, you let us put Banjo on this console or whatever, DK, whatever, Rare, because Microsoft, whatever. We give you X% of each console sold, even like to have the rights to have it if they demand something from it, which I don't even know if they would.
No, honestly, I just think like Microsoft might be like, hey,
the exposure is
too. I mean, like if they just said, hey, like it's a good way to, it's publicity. It's a good way to look good in front of gamers' eyes when Nintendo, I mean, you could play Minecraft across Switch and Xbox if you want to.
Yeah, if we keep doing these like
we're friendly, we're nice, look, friendly, everybody's happy.
So I had a list and I had it to what number did I had it to 13 before any possible third-party games.
So I just feel that I'm not saying third-party games didn't exist. The problem is some of those third-party games, the rights are a mess, right? That's the problem. It's like GoldenEye is like the one everybody loves, and they couldn't even get the rights for GoldenEye for like the Xbox. You know what I mean? Like they had problems with that shit, right? And that's the one thing I'm just saying is like some of the better games, like all the wrestling games that we talked about, those aren't happening. GoldenEye is not happening. You have
it's all the way on my couch. I can see it.
I'm just saying like the really good Nintendo games, and I'm not saying there weren't any on 64, because obviously there were some that were amazing, right? I'm just saying for the amount of games that you would want on a classic console, I just don't think they could get enough games from those third parties when a lot of those third party games jump the PlayStation. Like, dude, are you saying that you're going to want to get Castlevania 64?
I was just gonna say Castlevania is gonna be that'll be a title on it. They've put Castlevania on both of their.
They definitely have, but again, if people see Castlevania 64, do they jump for joy? They go,
no, that's a filler game. It's just to get numbers up. They're buying it. They're buying it for the Nintendo games, and there's those filler because even the SNES Classic.
But that has some gems
a third. True,
on there that are
but
third
a third
party.
A third of it's just filler. A third of it, at least, is just here's.
Oh, you mean Star Fox and Star Fox 2? Those fucking pieces of trash. I just said it. I don't like Star Fox. Those games.
Star Fox 64, magnificent. Star Fox SNES,
dude,
garbage. But
I remember playing those and literally going, what's the big deal? Like, what do people see?
It's fun, and you can beat it in 45 minutes. Dude. That's what's fun about it.
Oh, by the way, that was one thing I noticed too. I recently, I have Xbox Game Pass. They had Comic Zone and Sonic CD on there.
Saw that.
Which I was like, that's pretty legit. Cool. You're kind of like making another access style thing. Whatever. I went online, and there's a website, howlongtobeat.com.
Yep,
fantastic website. I went there. I'm like, how long is Comic Zone? It's fucking 2 hours. I'm like, how long is Sonic CD? It's 2 hours. I'm like, these games weren't very long, and we paid $70 and $80 for some of these games and shit. Like, dude, I mean, again, though, depending on the game it was, like, obviously, Earthbound's not a 2-hour game.
And how good you are at it. Like I said, Super Mario World?
Yeah.
I can beat that game in 3 hours.
True.
Like, 96 exits, all of it.
Yeah, exactly. Just go. But, I mean, that's the other thing, too, is, like, we complain about games not being long, or I'm like,
oh, no. I complain that games are way too fucking long.
Certain games are. Certain games are.
All games are too long.
All games.
Even the short games are too long.
You just want to go back to the 2-hour days.
I want 2-hour game. Mega Man is my favorite franchise. Video games.
Right.
Because I can beat Mega Man 2 in 30 minutes.
There you go.
It's so fun. I like games where you can get so good at it, but not like have to use skips and like. Part of the appeal of Destiny for me is I feel like it's the closest. This is a off the wall comparison that I make that nobody else seems to see or understand.
Okay.
Destiny is the closest thing to a 3D Mega Man that I've ever played, and it's great because the worlds they're set up like bad guys come out of certain spawn point. You know, and most of it's just video games in general. So I've heard that's how it works in all video games. Where there's spawn points, you know where they're coming. If you know where they're coming, you can avoid it. You don't have to kill everything. You can avoid it if you know the area.
Right.
And I just like to go through the missions as fast as I can. If they have to be killed, they have a certain gun that kills them faster. You may be able to find little skip points in the levels to where you can get across it faster or find some kind of shortcut. And the bosses typically have, they have their overshield to where it's like, I need this specific gun to beat them faster. And my goal is, can I beat this level faster than I did last time? And I understand that that's how 98% of games work. But in my mind and just the feeling that I personally have, like, that's why I like Destiny so much. When people are like, oh, this story is bullshit and it doesn't exist. I'm like, I give two shits about the story. It's like, it's super fun. Just like Mega Man. It's my favorite franchise and I give two shits about the story because the game is so fun. Also, I'm going to take over for the next 5 seconds. Gameplay is the most important aspect to video games.
That's true.
99% of the time.
I agree with you. No, I 100%. Like,
unless you're playing visual novels.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
gameplay's bad. Good story cannot carry bad gameplay in my mind.
But great gameplay can carry a garbage ass story.
A garbage ass story.
Case in point, Evil Within. That story, that first game is fucking nonsense. Like, I literally tried to follow. I wasn't distracted, because I didn't play that shit around my kids because I didn't want to, scar them for life. So I was like, cool, I'm focused. And I literally am like trying to follow it. And I just couldn't. I'm like, what is going on? Who's that? Is that dude real? What is going on right now? And I got to a point where I'm just like, skip. And I just skipped all the cutscenes because the gameplay of it made me feel like Resident Evil 4 again. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. This gameplay's great. This loop is great. Like, the upgrades to the weapons, the upgrades to your characters. I'm like, this is awesome. I'll skip every cutscene ever. Metal Gear 5, same thing. Sorry. I don't care if you follow every Metal Gear. I don't care. That story makes no sense. None. Doesn't. And every review that was out there was literally like one of the best gameplay loops I've ever seen. One of the, greatest looking games I've ever seen. this story is nonsense. Like, no one should fucking pay attention to this story. It does not make sense. And that's the same thing. I got to a point where I tried to follow, and I'm like, literally, I'm just like, I don't give a shit. Just get me back into this world where I can full-ton some shit out and, sneak around and shoot people without being seen. Like, I 100% agree with you there, though. But then there's some games, though, where a great story can sometimes make up for some questionable gameplay shit. Uncharted, for example, Uncharted 1, I really enjoyed it. Minus those goddamn controls where you have to lob a grenade by aiming the controller. Yeah. I was intrigued by the story and the characters, but that was like literally almost to the point where I was like, I don't want to play this anymore. Like, this controls are not fun. Sometimes a game can get really hard out of nowhere for whatever reason. I don't feel that's usually a problem. I'm one of those people that will, like, I'm a big fan of Trials, like Trials HD, Trials Evolution, Trials Fusion, where I constantly beat myself up to beat a level. And if I beat a level and I don't get platinum, I don't move on until I'm very meticulous about the shit. And I will get so pissed because I lost by like a fraction of a second, and I'll replay the whole goddamn thing. So a game being difficult, like Cuphead, loved Cuphead. Never felt it was cheap. Game like Bloodborne can go straight to hell. Because I just played it, I kept dying, and I'm like, no, not for me.
A game that's so difficult, not because it's difficult, but because the controls are garbage. Oh my god! Yeah, I hate Bloodborne's controls. I hate them.
I just don't.
Oh no! Every button push matters. I'm like, yeah, but when I aim and I stare at the sky because I'm aiming, that's not fun.
That's again, that could be a question as well. I could ask one day, but like franchise that you don't give a shit about, but everybody loves. For me, it's Dark Souls. Like, I don't get them. I'm not a fan. And my friend Dito, Dark Souls 3 came out, fucking dude stopped everything to play it. And I'm like, cool. I'm glad you like it. But I'm good, man.
That's also, like we've mentioned, my Twitter, kind of a dick sometimes. I say some pretty fun stuff. I say fun stuff. However, I do usually try to back up and say that regardless of how much of a dick I may be, if people are having fun playing whatever the hell they're playing, that's all I care about.
Right.
I talk shit on Xbox One and how Vitas in Japan sell more than Xbox Ones in Japan and all this stuff. However, if people are playing the Xbox, I never want a game, regardless of how stupid I think it is, how much I want that genre to fall off the edge of the cliff, anything. I don't want any games to fail. I want every game to do well. I want every console to do well, regardless of what I'm saying. My heart of heart is I don't want, because again, growing up, video games are the biggest thing for me. Like, people associate me, it's with video games, not just on Twitter where it's Jase Plays Games. Like, oh, both words are in the name. Like my friends, everybody I know growing up, like they know, like we have a question. Like I have old friends who still send me random messages where they're like, hey, tell me about this game.
Yep.
What's going on with this? Because I'm like that guy video games are extremely important to me.
Right.
And so I don't want to see them fail. I always want them to triumph. I want them to do well regardless of if it's another walking sim that I won't play because it's so goddamn boring.
Right.
But if people are playing them and having a good time, it's going to get them maybe open to playing something else. And then maybe they're playing that shit ass walking sim. And then they're like, what's another less gameplay-y type game I can play? And then I could say, hey, yo, play some Steins Gate.
There you go. Like,
hey,
there's always those
Danganronpa.
Yep.
Hey. So, there's these little bridges that you may not see that it can help build, and like these franchises where bring back Tomba. Where is Tomba 3?
Stop.
I have been waiting.
Tomba? Oh my God.
Tomba is one of the greatest franchises of all time.
Oh my God.
I love Tomba. It's so good.
Dude, well, again, you might get it with all those fucking remakes of stupid things like Busby and...
Tomba has been on my E3 predictions list for the last 3 years.
Who even owns that? Who owns that?
I own both of them.
No. I'm sorry. I don't mean like who owns physical copies. Who owns the license to that?
Oh, that's a great question.
Like, are they even
whoever
still in
wants
business?
it? Whoever wants it.
Yeah, I was going to say, we could get a crowdfunder.
Whoopee. Well, I looked this up. Who owns a Whoopee now? That's the question.
I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
Here's the thing, though. By the way, I agree with you. If whatever games, if games that you enjoy, because there's some people that get Call of Duty Madden every year, right?
Yeah.
But if it opens up you to playing anything else, and that's why one thing like Fortnite, for as much as I like PUBG better, Fortnite is literally, it's free. And so many people are buying consoles and they don't have to play for that game. And it's opening up eyes to gaming.
The video, oh my god, yeah.
Which I appreciate. And I agree with you where I don't want games to fail, except for Metal Gear Survive. Go fuck yourself, Konami.
I don't buy into that. I don't buy this. I don't care that much.
Nope.
Like,
nope.
Hashtag fuck Konami can hashtag fuck itself. I mean,
I'm just joking. Like, I really don't give a shit.
It's the one game
that everybody shits on, and it's so easy to shit on them because what they did, but I don't care.
I always, oh my god, I had a train of thought and I completely lost it.
It's because of the fuck Konami. That's what it was. I'm sorry.
Oh, fuck.
It's okay.
No, it was carrying off that. It's piggybacking off that.
Yeah, I don't want games to fail. Like you said, though, some people like just straight shit on a genre.
Oh, I got it. It was video games are fucking video games.
Yeah, they're video games. Like,
people should stop taking them so goddamn seriously.
Oh, you mean like how everybody said EA was the worst company in the world?
They're the worst company.
Everything's
the worst, the best. Like it drives me insane. Like, one of my favorite things is to see somebody complaining. Like, I complained like, oh, this happened in this game. Like, shit. But there's people who are like, my biggest example is when the SNES Classic, pre-orders and whatnot
they'd be available at 3 a.m.
happening, not
seconds.
happening, whatever. But people are like, oh my god, Nintendo. Well, why don't you do this one right? Why do you do this? Whatever. And I'm like, chill.
Yeah.
It's a toy.
Yeah.
Calm down. I had a buddy who was like, I'm so stressed about getting one of these. I was like, why are you stressing over a toy?
Yeah.
Stop it. They are 20-year-old video games. You've had 20 years to play these. They will be there. I guarantee it. I promise it. If they're not, there will be other ways to play the games. Right. Like, stop stressing over fucking video games.
For me, the only one that I just don't get is when people forget, man, EA just wants money. Yeah, real quick, every fucking person who makes games isn't doing it for free. Like, everyone's trying to make money. And I absolutely hated the whole Battlefront 2 thing because, like, people lost their shit over it. And I'm just like, guys, I get
Snowballing?
Yeah, it was really bad. And it got turned into, like, that one comment got turned into, like, the most downvoted comment in Reddit history. EA got voted, like, worst company. I'm like, worst company.
Worst company.
Worst company. I'm sure there are companies out there who are, like, working child labor under the books somewhere. I'm sure there's an oil company spilling oil into, like, some goddamn pond and killing. The worst company is EA because you had to work hard to get Darth Vader.
Because they make me pay $3 and I don't get that blue skin that I want.
Just stop. That's the one. And again, like, I played Battlefront and I was like, hey, this game's still fun. I don't need Luke Skywalker to have fun. Like, I'm having fun with this. Like, and again, maybe because I'm an adult and I have an irrational brain in my head. And I'm just like,
I don't know. A lot of these people on Twitter are adults also, dude.
No, but they don't think with their brains. That's probably. I mean, again, like, I know certain things, like, I have, again, nobody's making games for free. Everybody's trying to make money. Oh, what do you mean Microsoft is making you pay for Xbox Live Gold to play Fortnite online? PlayStation doesn't. Real quick, Microsoft likes money, and that's their decision they made. And guess what? It's worked for them. I don't know if you remember this, but, like, Xbox charged for Xbox Live way before PlayStation did, and guess what? The shit worked, and they made a lot of money. And you think they're just gonna, like, even certain things that they did do to turn around. Like before you had to have Xbox Live Gold to watch Netflix and shit, and then changed that. And I was like, obviously they're working, but like they have certain things that they like to do because Microsoft has shareholders that they have to account for. No,
man, I like you. I like your rationale. This is a good time.
Man,
dude, it took, we've had good conversation. I'm very sad that we're this far in, and this is a great, like, these are the points.
Right.
This isn't even retro talk either.
No, it's not. But again, that's what I was telling you earlier. This show, like, starts out retro, but then it goes all over the place.
But just like.
That's fine.
This is the shit that, like,
for adult talk later in the show.
This is the stuff where, like, my answer is always, why do they do this? I'm like, because they're a business. Yeah, and they make money because they have shareholders.
They have a lot of people. Real quick, if you had money in a company and they did some shit that wasn't going to get you your money back, I think you'd speak differently.
Yeah, there is a line, and Destiny 2 crossed that line.
Yeah, like certain games get hate. I mean, by the way, only reason I hated Destiny was because of how boring the story was. I never shitted on the gameplay of Destiny, like the gun gameplay.
Nobody does. If anyone says that Destiny's gameplay, maybe the gameplay loop gets old, but the gameplay itself, the control, shooting is
it's spot on because it's Bungie. They figured shit out a long time ago. They know how to make a shooter. Like they just work on that other shit.
Yeah, they need not put shit in behind paywalls that were available before and take stuff out of the game just so they can add it later and say it's an additional feature. And
or year-long PlayStation exclusives, which I talked about last.
No, that's fine.
You're like,
I have no problems with exclusive content.
The only thing I'll say is once and I know Phil wasn't in charge at the time, but Phil Spencer said, I'm not a big fan of when companies do that. They put shit. I'm like, did you not see the Xbox 360? How they did that for
Xbox
everything? And I'm like,
it's the same story with this cross-play nonsense where people are like, Xbox wants to do it. It's like Xbox would not have ever said that during the 360 PS3 era for the first 4/5 of the generation.
No, they probably wouldn't. Well, again, when you're on top, when you're on top, you don't need to do shit.
Number one does not associate with number two. It's just not a thing that happens. Anything.
I do love how Microsoft, though, just throws that shade all the time. Like, we love it. We just want it to happen. And even Nintendo, which, by the way, the fact you can play Minecraft with somebody on an Xbox on a Switch is ridiculous. That Sony is like, we want to protect our players. Some executive opened his mouth and spewed those words. And I was like, Nintendo, who is ridiculous for protecting their players, was like, yeah, we're good. We'll play. We're fine. Let's go.
Yeah, they say some silly things sometimes. Or I sit there and I'm just like, PlayStation, come on.
Well, dude, Don Matrick for the first year of the Xbox.
Don Matrick, what a champion. What a champion of the people. Don Matrick, everybody. Let's give like 5 seconds of silence for Don Matrick.
Fuck that guy. Whatever.
Anyway. I said silence.
Nah, I don't give that guy the pleasure of silence. Whatever,
God, he's
bro.
Such a cock.
He ruined the Xbox One. He ruined it. He ruined it.
No, they ruined themselves. They should have kept it how it was.
Yeah, but guess what?
They shouldn't have backtracked.
Like, dude, I'm telling you. No. Are you talking about that stuff? Yeah. I was down for it.
But his messaging was garbage.
If you want to play a game offline, buy a 360.
We have a console for that. It's called a 360.
You have got to be kidding. I was like, dude, I guarantee you everybody at Microsoft did that, like, Picard, like, face palm, like, oh my God, what is Don saying? Somebody put a muzzle on Don now.
What are you doing, Don?
Don, stop it. You're hurting us. Our shareholders are pissed right now. But it's all good. Like, okay. So, back to, not retro, but I mean, back to your history of gaming. Obviously now, it sounds like you play everything, minus Xbox, because you just hate Microsoft and all the shit they do.
I own one, though.
You do, though. So, again, I'm in the same boat as you, though. I
want them to make me want to play it, but they will not do it. They just will not do it.
Just get Game Pass, because honestly, that shit is way too good of a deal.
I have 14 days of Game Pass right now, and I looked, and I was like, nope.
Gears 4, Halo 5.
I'm not a Gears guy.
That makes
sense.
And
Halo 5, when I bought the PlayStation, when I bought the Xbox last summer, again, I'd like to point out, this generation I have bought 2 new PlayStations. I have bought 3 new Xbox Ones. So I have given Xbox more money on the console side.
There you go.
But they just, the first
Game-wise.
2, they didn't keep me. Well, the first one was I bought both of them at launch, and I was like, they're like the same exact console. I only need one of these.
Yeah, they really were.
And then the next one was, my friends are like, hey, we're playing Titanfall. And I was like, okay, I'll get it next week. It was dead already by the time.
Dude, Titanfall, bite your tongue. But again, at the launch, there was nothing to play. So I played Titanfall for probably like a year, dude. Like Titanfall. But again, with us Xbox people, we were just like clamoring for something good that was exclusive to play. That
at the time, PlayStation 4 did not have anything either.
But also,
we had,
oh man.
What were they? What am I? Just remakes PS3 upres games. And Knack.
Yeah,
hey,
Knack.
Knack is a champion of the PlayStation people.
Yeah,
I don't know if you see how excited people are when 2 was announced last year.
It's like an ongoing joke that like Knack
and whenever it was free last month on PS Plus, and
people lost
the roars of approval and.
Yeah, whatever. You know, it's funny. I own both of them because of my son. Yeah. And it's just funny because like I told him a second one was coming out and he was so pumped for it. And I'm like, it's okay.
You just looked at him.
Again, there's some questionable decisions he's made, which by the way, I'm very happy my son has made some decisions on his own and realized that he's made some garbage decisions. He's like, Dad, I want Kerbal Space Program. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I saw a YouTube video on it. I'm like, all right, cool. He buys it, comes back to me like an hour later, like, Dad, that game is really hard. Like, yeah, you just saw the cool shit that people were doing on YouTube. You didn't see like the other parts.
Yeah, they put time into making that cool thing you saw.
Exactly. So then I honestly don't think he's played it again since. He's probably just we all make.
We've all been there.
Mistakes.
We've all been there.
You gotta let him learn. You gotta let him fuck up and waste his money, and then he'll learn.
I have 30 years under my belt of this trial and error, trying, like, seeing things and going, I'm getting that.
Yeah.
And I still fuck up. I did it in January. I said, Monster Hunter, I just not very sold on it. I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but everyone's like, hey, Monster Hunter. And I was like, okay. And I played it and I was like, this is not for me. I knew it.
Every time I tell people the reason why I don't like it, they look at me like I'm stupid. You can't pause the game.
I say because I can't jump. That's my new. Not new.
If I can't jump, that's
it's not. Yeah, it's not a new one. But I told myself when I was playing Monster Hunter, I said I need to firmly establish in my evaluating what my game purchases will be. I have to know, can I jump? If no, that game better be goddamn awesome in every other aspect. Because if I can't jump, I'm not having a good time.
Yeah, I just I'm a guy who has a family who I work from home, so occasionally I can play games between work if it's slower. I cannot, if I can't pause a game, I'm not a fan of it because there's moments where I'll be playing and all of a sudden my 2-year-old will run in here and go, Dad, I need juice. And I'm like, cool, I got you. Let me pause a video game and go get your juice and come back. By the way, shout out to Assassin's Creed Origins. You let me pause everything in that goddamn game. I appreciate that. Like cutscenes, everything. Everything was pausable. That's how I prefer my games. I literally paused Monster Hunter. I'm like, why is it not pausing? And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll hit select. You know, because some games are dumb like that. Hit this. No. Okay, let me hit the guide button. No. Done. I played 2 hours of it, and I was like, I don't have the time to sit down for hours uninterrupted and play this. So my son loves Monster Hunter, so whatever. He has all the time in the world. Have fun, kid. Whatever.
Have fun, kid.
I
wish I would have bought it physical so I could have got rid of it.
Yeah, I bought it digital because I knew my son would never want to get rid of it. So those are the games I only buy digital. Everything else is physical. Like Assassin's Creed, I was like, I'm going to beat this and get rid of this so quickly. And that's exactly what I did. So obviously your gaming habits now, though, you're playing everything. So besides your Xbox, but you're playing everything.
I'm in a odd spot now, though. I'm in a very, well, it's not uncomfortable. It's over the last few years, it's become more like reoccurring to where I'm just like, I don't know what to play, even though I have endless amounts of stuff to play. Because from September until last month, I had like solid, like, I want to play this. I want to play this. Like, I had a lineup. Like, Destiny came out at the beginning of September, and I was like, I'm playing Destiny until Danganronpa comes out. And I played Danganronpa, and I finished it, and I went back to Destiny, and then Fractured Butthole came out. I was like, I'm playing Fractured Butthole this weekend, and I beat that. And then, of course, Destiny's a little filler, but then I was like, okay, boom, Mario. And then I play through Mario, and then sprinkles of Destiny in there. And then it was like, oh, I need to get back to Nier. And I went back to Nier Automata. Great game. And then I played Nier, and then I got conned into getting Destiny 2 on PC. And so I was playing Destiny 2 on PC. And then Christmas break hit, and I said, now is the time for Persona 5. And I played Persona 5.
Jesus.
And I went straight through. It took a month, but I did it, and I platinumed it, and had a good time. And so I got that. And then pretty much right after that was Cyber Dimensions Neptunia, Four Goddesses Online, and I beat that. And then right after that, I bought Tokyo Xanadu was finally on sale. So I bought that, and to my surprise, started playing it within the week I bought it and played through that. And that's basically a Persona Lite game. And so that, is just like these really solid long, and it's not just like I'm playing it and beat, like I was getting the platinums for like all of these games.
Jesus Christ.
Working toward, like, I was like, I'm having a good time working towards finishing these. Like, this is like a goal, and I'm working toward it. As soon as I finished Xanadu, I was just sitting there, and I was like, I don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
I know the answer is Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I'm like, do I want another long RPG? Fourth one in a row.
I do the same thing you did, except for I know I can't play everything I want to all at once. So I avoid buying everything all at once unless there's some, like, Best Buy has their Gamers Club Unlocked $10 reward. Yeah, I'll buy those day one. But I'm very much like you where I'm like, okay, cool. In one day, Mario, Wolfenstein, and Assassin's Creed came out. And I was like, this is probably one of the best days of gaming ever. But I'm only getting Mario because I'm not going to have time. Got Mario, played, but I'm kind of at the point now where I go to how long to beat, and I look at the games I have, and I go, what's the fastest one I can get done now? And I'm like, that game, 6 hours, done. Boom, get it done. All right, cool, what's this one? Like, I held off. I had Evil Within 2, which, by the way, is so goddamn good. It's so good. Story made sense. It was actually a good story. Yeah, right? I had that. I had Assassin's Creed Origins. I had Fractured Butthole. I had Wolfenstein 2. I had something else. But I literally just went, what's the quickest one to beat? This one. Just to knocked it out. Is that just to get something out of the way, to like get momentum going? Yeah, but also I spread it out. Oh, Shadow of War. That was the other one. Like, I basically was like...
Man, I forgot that was a thing.
Dude, Shadow of War was amazing. I 100% of that game. Like certain games, I didn't want to play Shadow of War and then play Assassin's Creed because I was like, that's a lot of similar. Yeah. I'm like, nope. But I literally saved Assassin's Creed for last because it was the longest game out of all the ones I had. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, I had about 2 months where I thought I was going to be playing Monster Hunter, but I didn't. So I've been just trying to like play backlog stuff. But yeah, I mean, you get to those modes where nothing new's out, so you got to play your backlog shit. But
also, I didn't even mention in the middle of that was Doki Doki Literature Club.
Right. There's just
so good.
You can't do between September and like January. You got to just pick your battles and figure out what the fuck you're going to do because like the rest of the year is sporadic. Like I got Sea of Thieves, which by the way, give a shit what anybody says. Game's fun. Again, remember what we're talking about? It doesn't have enough content, dude. You're a fucking pirate and you get on another pirate ship and you shoot them and you take their shit. That's awesome. I'm sorry. It's fun. But then, stop. I'm about to blow up. But now I'm all like, this is fun. Again, I have it on Game Pass. Whatever. I'm like, this is cool. Then I was like, oh, I don't have anything to play. Then Far Cry comes out. And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'll play Far Cry. And then by the time Far Cry's done, God of War will come out. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got that. And then I thought in May State of Decay comes out. I'm like, okay. So now I'm back to the mode where I'm like steady stream of stuff, but
the end of May is going to be crazy cray.
I'm trying to remember what
State of Decay is coming out, so I have to decide if I want to pay $10 for that.
I would hope you would, because $10 would be worth that.
And then Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2 comes out on Switch.
Right.
Got to show my support for the Blue Bomber.
Right.
Then we have Detroit comes out on the 24th.
Right.
It's a Friday. And then there's one or two other the Harvest Moon New Hope, or
that's just tying back to you never getting the Super Nintendo one.
It comes out on I have that one now though.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I bought my Super Nintendo cartridge of Harvest Moon is my gaming treasure. Like, if somebody came in here and said you have to get rid of all of your games and your whatever, and you can keep one thing. Like, if I was able to keep the consoles, of course I'm going to keep the consoles. But if I could only keep one physical game, it would be that one. It's my
that one that they love.
And what's bad is I could sell it for the most money.
You could.
It's easily the most valuable one that I have too.
But also too, they have that sentimental value. You don't want to get rid of it.
Oh yeah, dude, I love Harvest Moon.
There you go.
So good.
So if people want to go online and see you hate Xbox and love Nintendo, I'm just playing. Where would they go? What would they do? Like, feel free to promote your awesomeness right now.
Twitter.com/JacePlaysGames, where I talk shit on Xbox, as we all know, and I love PlayStation. I'm a fanboy, according to some people, even though I shit on PlayStation a lot. I shit on Nintendo too. I shit on a lot of things, but I also share a lot of fun stuff. And Wario 64 is basically my lifeline. Like, if you don't follow Wario, I'm gonna plug Wario 64. Follow that guy if you buy anything video games electronics.
Yes, that guy is.
He's a master.
Exactly.
He does I always say he does God's work.
All the sales, like Fractured Butthole right now for $20. Go get that.
So good. And then Twitter.com. What is it? Twitch.tv/JacePlaysGames, where I occasionally play video games. Unfortunately, I don't keep one thing. I jump back and forth because that's the kind of player I am. I cannot play one thing over and over and over and over and over. And I am affiliate, so if you have that Twitch Prime subscription, feel free to come by and, give me that $2.49.
Is that what you get from it?
Yeah, it's because it's a value of a regular subscription, which is $5, and the affiliates get 50% of it. Exactly. So we get $2.49 per subscription.
And if you guys want to, I'll have links in the show notes for everything. So if you guys want to, feel free to check him out. You could definitely do that. I appreciate you being on the show, even though you don't like Xbox. I probably shouldn't even have asked you to be on the show because you just hated Xbox so much. But
I was surprised when you sent me the message. I was like, "What is this guy trying to start a flame war?"
I was just desperate for guests. No, I'm just playing. No, I enjoyed you. You're always in the comments with Sean and everybody else.
Giving Sean shit's one of my favorites.
But poor Sean.
I love Sean.
Canadian.
I love
so
Sean
nice.
Capri. He's such a good dude.
He's such a good guy. Everybody go follow Sean Capri as well, and go listen to all of his shows, We the Gamer Cast, and I'll promote the Xbox Drive. Not if we ran Nintendo. All right, man. Thank you so much, Jase, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, and again, thank you, Jase, for being on the show. If you guys want to follow him on Twitter, you can go at JacePlaysGames on Twitter. Also to twitch.tv/JacePlaysGames. He plays some random stuff on there, so feel free to check him out there as well. Again, thank you so much for you guys listening each and every week. We are on many, many different platforms now. We have iTunes, we have Google Play. I'm also on YouTube now, so feel free to look up Growing Up Gaming on any of those platforms. I also have a podcast Facebook group, which is Growing Up Gaming, so you can search it there on Facebook as well as the website, gugpodcast.com. So I'm only everywhere, trying to do everything. Hopefully people enjoy the content. Hopefully people want to visit any of those sites or subscribe or leave us a review or something. iTunes likes, sure. Whatever, right? Again, if you guys want to be on the show just like he was, send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Again, thank you guys so much for listening each and every week to the show. And I will catch you guys next week with another new guest. See ya.